G'day, this is Rex with episode 19 of Petanque Points Podcast. The Petanque Points crew have been travelling a bit in the last month, so this episode will be short and sweet, but still high on quality. We travel in North America, Malaysia, the Googleverse, Kilcunda in seaside Victoria, and we feature the most requested and popular umpire to ever appear on Petanque Points Podcast to sort out some very serious concerns some players have with the game. So sit back, settle in, and let's go. Here is a report from Iskandar Paturi on the Malaysian Johor International Petanque Men's and Women's Double Open Championships 2022. A total of 900 athletes are expected to participate in the Johor International Petanque Men's and Women's Double Open Championships 2022 later this month, says Datuk Jabar. The Deputy State Secretary, Sports, Youth and Volunteers, added that the event will make it into Malaysia's Book of Records for the highest number of participants in petanque. As of Monday, August the 8th, a total of 834 participants have registered for the coming championships, which will be held on August the 27th and the 28th. A total of 626 local athletes will also participate, he said during a press conference at the Pine Tree Hotel. Besides Malaysia, the other participating countries are Singapore, South Korea, Brunei, Cambodia, Thailand, Denmark, Indonesia, Australia, the Philippines, Nepal, Zambia, India, France, and New Macedonia. He said the championship will offer a prize worth 28,000 Malaysia ringgit. That's about 8,850 AUD. Our main objective is to give exposure to local athletes who are currently making preparations for the coming Malaysia Games, Sukma, from September 29th to October 8th in Kuala Lumpur, he added. So there may still be just time to register. Search the net for details or check with Andre Deramon's Facebook account for the link. I had difficulty directly copying the link from there as I think it was a screenshot, but then again, I'm not tech savvy. Now here comes our favourite PFA Chair of Umpires with some very clear and concise solutions to a couple of situations raised in recent games. Come on down, David Shaw. Good afternoon, David. How are you?
Rex, I'm fine. Yourself?
I'm extremely well. You're one of the most popular people we have on this program, and everyone looks forward to it and keep asking me, when's David on again?
Oh, so you mean people are queuing up to give me some more hate emails? That'd be wonderful, thanks.
No, not at all, not at all. David, I've got two really tricky ones for you this week, and I think it'll take a long time for you to be able to explain these and sort them out.
Well, look, I might even have to consult the rule book and come back to you if they're going to be that tricky, Rex, but go ahead.
I think so. Okay, the first one, and the question is, when the person wins the toss, are they obligated to actually take the throw of the kosh, or can they say, no, we don't want to throw, we want to give it to the other team to throw? So that's the question. Do we have to throw the kosh if we win the toss?
So this is covered in the rules under Article 6. Article 6, start of play. The players must draw lots, brackets, toss a coin, close brackets, to decide which team will choose the terrain if it has not been allocated by the organisers, and to be the first to throw the jack. So there's no option. If you win the toss, your team must be the first to throw the jack.
Well, that's pretty straightforward. There's no argument about that. In fact, I'm a little surprised by anyone asking the question, because surely the advantage would be to the person who does throw the jack, because they can decide on the terrain where they want to put it, whether they want to put it close to an edge line or close to the back, as far as they can, or anything like that. You're in command of the kosh, I would have thought. But it was a legitimate question, and we needed a proper legitimate answer. So we've gone to the right place, and you give me the right answer.
Well, thank you, Rex. I think that one of the reasons I've observed is that people sometimes don't like to go first. They'd rather see someone else's bull and how it behaves on the terrain. This is assuming that they haven't actually done a warm-up and a practice on the ground that they're going to play on. So That's why sometimes I think people can be a little bit hesitant. But
that makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. But my attitude to that is you get first go at the cosh, and if you can get it on the cosh, it's going to make it harder for anybody else to get points.
For good players like yourself, that's an ideal tactic.
There's good and there's lucky. Well, thanks for that, David. Now, I've got another one, and this is a genuine case that happened recently, I believe. I was approached by one of the members of our club, played a competition the week before or the weekend before, and the circumstances were this. Team A played first. The cosh was marked. They threw their first bull, and it was in a very good situation, very close to the cosh. The second player played and didn't quite get as close to the cosh or their bull. And then a team on the next piece played one of their bulls and must have shot one. Their bull then came across onto the piece of the playing game we're talking about, hit the cosh and moved it, and hit the close bull, which is from the team that first threw, and knocked that bull and the cosh further away than the first bull of the second team. The cosh was able to be replaced, of course, because it was marked, as it should be. The team whose bull moved, and it was unmarked, claimed this was a situation that required the restart of that end. And that's what ensued after a bit of arguing, I believe. So can you tell me how that should have been handled, David?
Well, if an umpire had been called, or if anyone had read the rules, certainly replacing the jack in its marked position was appropriate. Seeing the bull in question was not marked, it stays where it is, and the end proceeds onwards. There is no closure, restart, declaring the end null. It just goes on.
And it goes on as with the positions of those bulls. So the bull that was originally closest ended up further away because it was knocked out. They're now further away, so they would be the ones to play their next bull then in that case too.
That's how I usually play the game, yes, Rick.
It's just like to be clear, that's all.
And that's why you see some players, especially if you're playing in narrow lanes and you're close to another pair of teams that do a lot of shooting, you be on guard or you mark your bulls.
Yes, that's right. And if the bulls are moved by any circumstance, like people tripping on them and knocking them with their feet, and I've got to admit my guilt in that area, I've done that a couple of times, but I did learn quickly and I've never done it since. So they stay where they are unless they're marked.
Yep. And the only other thing that could happen is in that previous description that you just gave, if somebody moved a bull with their feet and it was not regarded as being accidental, then that's a whole different story.
Oh, yeah, I could understand that.
You sometimes see it where there's an outlying bull that's well away from the head and people come up and examine the head and then they start to move backwards and they inadvertently move a bull. That sometimes happens too. When an umpire is present, that's it. You can't replace a displaced bull unless it is marked.
Sure.
But obviously in social games and social gatherings and other situations like that, if both teams agree to replace it in the right position, then that's something which may have been seen from time to time, but would not occur in the situation where a game was being umpired and the umpire was present.
Fantastic, David. As usual, you've been able to answer the questions cleanly, straightforwardly, and in a way that I can understand. And if I can do that, everybody else should be able to do that. That's just brilliant. I thank you for that.
Thank you, Rick.
I'll do a bit of research and see if I can't find something that's a bit more difficult for you next time we chat. I'm giving you a too easy run. That's the problem.
I agree. It's an easy life earning the big bucks, undoubtedly.
All right, David. Thank you very much for that. And I look forward to catching you up at one of our future podcasts down the track. You take care. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Rex. Cheers and good work, as usual.
This remarkable North American result from the 2022 World Games was posted by Dan Ninman of the Indian County News Service. A Crow Creek Sioux woman has become the first US athlete to win a medal in the sport of Petanque, bringing home silver earlier this month with record-breaking points in the 2022 World Games competition. Rebecca Howe of Port Townsend, Washington, powered her way to the finals in the precision shooting women's singles competitions at the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama, but fell to Cambodian athlete Uk Srimon, who also won gold in women's doubles. Howe notched the highest number of points ever recorded in the competition by a US Petanque athlete to claim her first medal on a worldwide stage. "This silver was my first international medal," Howe said. "It has been a dream of mine to get to represent the USA in an international competition. It was an honour to get to play against some of the best women's Petanque players in the world. I've seen them all play in the competitions on YouTube and I admired them all." Howe and her partner Janice Bisonnet of Fresno, California, also competed in the doubles division but did not advance to the finals. Howe is a two-time national champion and a six-time regional champion. In 2018, she won both the national women's singles title and the national mixed doubles with partner Silas Home, who is also a husband and trainer. In the recent World Games, she scored 38 points in the semi-final heat, heading into the finals to set a US record. 38 points is the highest score in precision shooting in Petanque for the US men or women during any World Games or Championships, Ernesto Santos, president of the Federation Petanque USA, told ICT. The federation is the official governing body of Petanque in the US. The World Games, held in Birmingham July 7 to 17, featured athletes from about 100 countries competing in more than 30 non-Olympic sports. Howe became the first athlete to bring a medal home to the US in Petanque. In 2013, an American athlete, Marique Roland, took bronze in the women's doubles competitions, but she and her partner, Maryse Bergeron of Canada, represented Canada in the World Games, which were held in that year in Cali, Colombia, Santos said. "Well done, Rebecca." It was announced just recently in an initial communication from the FIPJP that they will be not proceeding with the Men's World Triples Championships in Benin, which has been scheduled for December 2022. More of that in later editions of Petanque Points podcasts. So what do you do when it's flooding rain outside, but yet you still want a game of petanque? There are not a lot of alternatives. One, of course, is to play the game inside. Fun, but not always practical. If you want to see a full-blown game in a normal domestic household, check out our video on YouTube entitled Petanque Indoors by PB The Vlogs. That's VLOGS. You will understand why our insurance rates have increased substantially. I found another option, though. It comes under Google Doodle on the internet. In your browser, type in google.com/doodles/celebrating-petanque. Bonne chance. I did say in last month's podcast that we do not receive any monies or gratuities from any group, political party or organisation, and we have no allegiance to any of those. This allows me to be unencumbered in comments, good or bad, on any products or services of which I may come across. I did not receive anything other than the experience I enjoyed in the following, and I hope that the Petanque Points podcast listener may also find it worth following up. So, a mention and a recommendation. Kilcunda is a town where the rolling green hills of rural Gippsland meet a rugged coastline of long sandy beaches, surging surf of the Bass Strait Seas, and the Kilcunda Ocean View Hotel captures it all. Yes, known locally as the Killy, the pub does have dramatic views, but more than that, it has an excellent chef who produces some incredible specials on the menu. Ivan Sanchez, head chef, has introduced a few Latin flavours, and one particularly really took me to another dining level, and that was the Argentinian-inspired Las Rampas, a chicken breast marinated in a special concoction of herbs and salt. Yes, I did say salt. But what a blast! Sitting on a bed of creamy, buttery mashed potatoes, accompanied by a balanced setting of vegetables. This is a meal that will have you wondering, how do you get so much flavour out of chicken? Call Mark, the owner, and make a booking. He may be back from his holiday in Mauritius by now. For those who have missed the dad jokes, what do you call a woman who sets fire to all her bills? Bernadette. Well, that's it for episode 19. I did say it was short and sweet. Make a registration for Malaysia. Keep an eye out for Rebecca. Have a go at indoor petanque one way or another. And next time you play, do give a toss and think about marking your bulls. And remember, if your club would like something featured on Petanque Points podcast, contact me at audiorexy@gmail.com. Thanks for playing. Rex out.
You're a good man, Rex. Sick of Rex. Sick of Rex. Sick of Rex.